The moment the CEO, Anna Sterling, walked her first love home, I was standing there with a spatula, about to ask if I should add a couple more dishes for dinner. Then he pointed a finger straight at my nose and demanded, I knew it. The stories are always true. The second I leave the country, you find a replacement to keep at home. I glanced down at my chef's whites and the spatula in my hand. Nobody had informed me I was a replacement. Before I could process what was happening, the man, Julian Vance, launched into a self-pitying tirade. No wonder you've been so distant while I've been away. You had a new flame here the whole time, completely forgetting about your old one. And now that I'm back, you can't even bear to send this substitute away. Fine, I'll just leave and let you two be happy together. Watching Julian's dramatic outburst, I was completely stunned. What script was this? Wasn't I just the chef Anna Sterling had hired for a $1 million annual salary to get her chronic stomach issues under control with my culinary skills? Since when did I become a new flame or a substitute? Anna herself frowned. Julian, what are you talking about? You were gone for 3 months, and I flew out to see you every single week. How is that being distant? And this is Noah Carter, our chef. He's not whatever you're imagining. A single tear rolled down Julian's cheek. Who hires a chef this young? I like to wear white, and he's wearing white. If he's not a replacement, what is he? Anna, you don't have to lie to me. I looked at my practical white chef's coat, then at Julian's white silk shirt, and felt a muscle in my twitch. The only thing they had in common was the color. I sighed and tried to explain patiently. Mr. Vance, I really am the chef. If you don't believe me, you can check the kitchen. I have a chicken bone broth simmering on the stove right now. Julian covered his ears and shrieked. I don't want to hear it. Even if there is, you probably just staged it to trick me. Anna, looking exasperated, said, Then what will it take for you to believe Noah is just the chef? Get rid of him, and I'll believe you, Julian declared, a smug look on his face as if he'd seen it all. The stories are very clear. The first love and the replacement can't coexist. Otherwise, it's only a matter of time before the substitute takes my place. Anna, I don't want to lose you, so he has to go. Hearing this, Anna's frown deepened. She glanced at me hesitantly. My cooking had already helped her stomach condition improve significantly. She couldn't really do without me right now. But if she didn't send me away, it was clear Julian wouldn't let it go. After a moment, Anna made her decision. She walked over to me and said in a low voice, Noah, I know our agreement was for you to live in, but given the circumstances, I'm going to have to ask you to move into the penthouse I own nearby. I'll double your reimbursement for commuting, and I'll add 3 months' salary as compensation. How does that sound? My eyes lit up instantly. Anna's penthouse was only a 5-minute drive from the main house. Not only would I get double the travel expenses, but I'd also get a 3-month bonus. This was a fantastic deal. I nodded without hesitation. No problem, Miss Sterling. Do you need me to move now? I pulled out my phone, ready to call a moving company. Anna seemed taken aback, probably not expecting me to be so agreeable. A strange feeling flickered in her eyes, but she just nodded. Yes, please. The movers will be here soon. As I directed the workers with my luggage, Julian sauntered over, looking down his nose at me. So what if you wormed your way in while I was gone, Noah? In the end, you're the one leaving with your tail between your legs. In her heart, I'm the only one that matters. No matter what you do, a replacement will always be just a replacement. I had just received the bank notification for the 7-figure compensation payment. The glowing numbers made Julian, the catalyst for this windfall, seem almost endearing. I smiled and played along. You're absolutely right. In Ms. Sterling's heart, you're the most important. I could never compare. Julian snorted. At least you know your place. He then turned and walked away with his chest puffed out. From a distance, I heard the housekeeper, Maria, ask him which room he'd like to stay in. Without a second thought, he replied, I'll take the one Anna filled with my pictures to miss me by. Maria blinked in confusion. I don't believe we have a room like that. His voice immediately rose. How could you not? In the stories, after the first love goes abroad, the CEO always has a locked room no one can enter, filled with their pictures. If you don't know, just say so. How can you say it doesn't exist? I didn't catch the rest, but I shook my head and offered a silent 2 seconds of sympathy for Maria. After moving into the penthouse, my life became incredibly relaxed. Aside from having to sneak back into the main house with Maria's help to avoid Julian's line of sight and cook Anna's 3 meals a day, my time was my own. While I was looking healthier and more vibrant, Maria seemed to be visibly wilting. During another one of our covert handoffs, I finally had to ask, "Maria, has it been that busy at the house lately? I feel like you haven't had a good night's sleep in ages." Maria let out a long sigh. "Don't even ask. Mr. Vance has been driving me crazy. The first day he moved in, he demanded that Anna fire me because I didn't tell him he was the first man she had ever brought home. The next day, he asked if Anna had even smiled in the years since he left. I just showed him a photo from her recent interview in Forbes where she was laughing, and he got so angry he smashed my phone." Maria, having finally found someone to vent to, unleashed a week's worth of complaints about Julian's behavior. Listening to her, I felt a wave of relief. Thank God I moved out on the first day. Otherwise, being forced to act in Julian's soap opera every day would probably shorten my lifespan. But I celebrated too soon. Just a couple of days later, my doorbell rang insistently, like a summons from the underworld. The moment I opened the door, Julian pushed past me and stormed in. He strutted around the apartment like a peacock surveying its territory before announcing triumphantly, "No wonder you left so easily. So Anna had another place to hide you." My patience was wearing thin. I just wanted him gone. "Mr. Vance, I am really just a chef. If you don't believe me, I can show you my employment contract." I handed the contract to him. When his eyes landed on the annual salary figure, his pupils contracted. $1 million. He snatched the contract, a sneer on his face, and slapped it down on the coffee table. "What kind of chef makes a salary that high? This has to be your allowance for being her boy toy." That was an insult to my professionalism. I earned my living with my own 2 hands. I had reached my limit. I pulled out my phone and dialed. "Anna, can you please get your one that got away under control?" A heavy sigh came from the other end of the line. "He's there, isn't he? Let me talk to him." Julian took the phone, his face still full of disdain. But as he listened, his expression changed. Finally, he shot me a glare, muttered "I know" into the phone, and hung up. He lifted his chin, resuming his arrogant posture. "You got lucky today, but don't think I'm done with you. Anna is just blinded by you for now. Soon enough, she'll realize that a cheap copy can never compare to the original." He delivered his threat and stormed out. Listening to the door slam with a deafening crash, I wondered if I should ask Anna for some emotional distress compensation. To avoid any more trouble from Julian, I stopped going to the main house for the next few days. I cooked the meals at my place and had Maria pick them up in insulated containers for Anna. One day, when Maria came by, she brought an invitation along with the containers. It was for Julian's welcome home party. Looking at the gold embossed invitation, I felt a headache coming on. I was about to refuse when Maria added, "Ms. Sterling is at her wit's end with Mr. Vance. She said if you attend, she'll pay you 10 times your daily rate for overtime." She gave me a look that said, "Some guys have all the luck." My attitude changed instantly. Overtime pay is irrelevant. If Ms. Sterling needs me, I would go through fire and water for her. The party was held at Anna's lakeside mansion. When I arrived, Julian was playing the piano. A soft spotlight shone on him, finally giving him a bit of the first love aura he was so desperate to project. As soon as Seattle's tech elite and old money heirs saw me, they swarmed over to chat. "Noah, are you heading to the kitchen tonight?" "I'm in for a treat then. Considering a change of scenery, Noah? My mother has been dying for your cooking lately." The piano music stopped abruptly. All eyes turned to Julian. He picked up a microphone, his eyes burning as he looked at the crowd around me. "Let me introduce myself. I am Anna Sterling's true love. You're all gathered around a substitute who's not even fit to be seen in public. If you want to suck up to someone, make sure you pick the right person, or it could backfire." The guests exchanged bewildered glances before turning back to me and continuing their conversations. Julian was convinced I had won everyone over while he was gone. He was furious, but then he seemed to remember something and a cold smirk appeared on his face. He straightened his suit and walked over, his expression shifting to a smile. "My performance was decent, but I hear your skills on the piano are even more sublime, Noah. Why don't you play a piece for everyone? If you refuse, you're just insulting all our guests." As he said this, Julian had a look of gleeful anticipation. He had done his research. Noah Carter was supposedly tone-deaf. He couldn't even play a simple scale, let alone a concerto. When he tried to play, he would undoubtedly make a fool of himself in front of everyone. Then Anna would see how little this substitute resembled him. Julian could already picture my public humiliation, a smug look spreading across his face. But I just held up my hands. "You heard wrong. I can't play the piano at all." Julian's smugness froze. He stared at me in disbelief. "You're just admitting it?" In the stories, the substitute is supposed to try and imitate the first love no matter what, even if they're terrible at it. Why aren't you doing that? By the end, he was starting to lose his composure. This was his meticulously planned welcome home party, designed specifically for me to fail spectacularly. Just then, Anna finished with some work and came over. Seeing his flushed face, she asked with concern, "What's wrong?" He immediately grabbed her hand and complained, "Anna, Noah is bullying me." Anna frowned at me. I held up my hands, the picture of innocence. I did no such thing. The people around us quickly explained to Anna what had happened. She rubbed her temples, looking visibly exhausted. "Just go play something. I'll raise your overtime to 20 times the rate." My face broke into a wide grin. "Ms. Sterling, you're too generous." I walked over to the piano and proceeded to mash my fingers on the keys, producing a cacophony that was a world away from Julian's earlier melody. Julian laughed triumphantly, looking around eagerly to see everyone mock me. However, the guests just clinked their glasses and continued their conversations as if they hadn't heard a thing. He shot up from his seat, questioning them in disbelief. "Why aren't you laughing at him? Why aren't you saying he's some low-class nobody who doesn't belong here?" Someone replied, confused, "He just can't play the piano. What's there to laugh about? Besides, playing the piano isn't the measure of a person. Noah might not be a musician, but his cooking is on par with a Michelin star restaurant. Everyone has things they're not good at. You have to allow people to have flaws." Julian retorted, exasperated. "But your role as background characters at this party is to mock the humiliated substitute. Why aren't you laughing?" The air instantly became so quiet you could hear the bubbles in a champagne flute. The tech air scoffed, "So, Anna's parties are so exclusive that we're only fit to be background props. In that case, we won't stick around and be an eyesore." Most of the guests began to leave, ignoring Anna's apologies. She was completely overwhelmed. But Julian was still shouting, "Let them go. I'm Anna's one true love. They offended me. Tomorrow, I'll have Anna make their companies go bankrupt." With that, the few remaining guests decided to leave as well, giving Julian a look one might reserve for a lunatic before departing. The welcome home party ended in a spectacular failure. I was about to leave myself when Julian grabbed my wrist. "You can't go. Anna, this party turned out this way because Noah planned to frame me and watch me fail. You have to punish him for me." Anna's face darkened, the disappointment in her eyes impossible to hide. "Julian, can you please stop this? What's happened to you?" Julian's face went pale. "You're taking a side against me. You say I've changed, but you're the one who's changed, aren't you? It seems you've chosen him over me. You'd better not regret this." He grabbed his jacket and stormed out of the mansion. I patted Anna's shoulder sympathetically. "You have my condolences. Also, remember to wire the overtime pay to my account." I was about to leave when I saw Anna's face turn pale. She clutched her stomach with one hand, a clear sign her condition was flaring up. Now I couldn't leave. I helped her to the sofa and went to the kitchen to make a soothing broth for her. After looking after her all night, her color finally returned. I stretched and was about to head out of the mansion when I saw Julian pacing outside the gate. He was clearly too proud to come in after Anna hadn't chased after him the night before. When he saw me, he looked at me with disbelief. I was gone for one night, and Anna was already so eager to have you here with her. "Noah, you're far more cunning than I thought. But don't get too comfortable. I have plenty of ways to deal with you." I had no energy to engage with Julian anymore. I felt like talking to him lowered my IQ. As I was about to leave, he seemed to make a decision and rushed into the mansion. Anna, after a night of reflection, I realized I was wrong. I know Noah is important to you. I won't try to make him leave anymore. Will you forgive me? Seeing Julian back down, Anna's expression softened. I'm glad you understand. In that case, Noah, you should move back into the house. I'm going to need you around for the next few days. I knew Anna was referring to her stomach issues, but Julian clearly misunderstood. Seeing that Anna didn't object and even seemed to welcome me back, his face grew even paler, and he shot me a look full of resentment. But then a malicious smile crossed his face. My brow twitched. I had a bad feeling about what was coming. While I was on edge, the housekeeper, Maria, seemed to have found an ally. She would come to the kitchen every day to whisper her complaints about Julian. One day, right after she finished a story, Julian's voice came from behind us. Anna, look, you pay Noah all that money, and he's still flirting with other women. He was clearly referring to the money as my allowance. Anna didn't catch his insinuation, but she frowned instinctively. Maria, please be mindful of your duties. Maria scurried out of the kitchen with an embarrassed smile. Julian's eyes narrowed as he noticed Anna had only reprimanded Maria, not me. One day, as I was preparing lunch in the kitchen, Julian suddenly burst in, snatched the knife from my hand, and declared, Your lucky streak is over, Noah. Today is the day you get thrown out of this house. With that, he took the knife and stabbed a hidden blood pack at his waist. He immediately started crying out in pain. It hurts. Noah, I just wanted to help you chop some vegetables. Why did you have to stab me? Anna heard the commotion and rushed downstairs, catching Julian as he collapsed to the floor. Her brow furrowed into a knot. Noah, I know you've been through a lot lately, but you can't resort to violence. I calmly pointed to the ceiling. Ms. Sterling, there's a security camera in the kitchen. Instead of accusing me, you might want to check the footage first. Julian clearly hadn't anticipated this. A flash of panic crossed his eyes. As Anna was about to check the security feed, he grabbed her arm, his cries becoming more desperate. Anna, it hurts so much. Forget the camera. Please just take me to the hospital. Hearing this, Anna immediately had someone take Julian to the hospital. I thought for a moment, asked Maria to handle the security footage, and followed them. Once in the examination room, with no one else around, Julian grabbed the doctor's hand and slipped him a credit card. He whispered, In a minute, you're going to say I was stabbed, and now I'm in kidney failure. You'll say I need a transplant from the man who came with me. Got it. The doctor paused, holding the card with a complicated expression. Julian, however, thought everything was settled. He had the doctor push him out of the room in a wheelchair. Outside, Anna rushed forward. Doctor, how is he? Is it serious? Should I call in specialists from overseas for surgery? The doctor opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. Julian shot him a look of frustration and then spoke himself, his voice weak. The doctor says the stabbing caused kidney failure. I need a transplant immediately. I think Noah's kidney would be a good match. He hurt me, so he should pay the price. He then gave me a triumphant look, as if certain Anna would have my kidney removed for him. I was speechless. Julian went through all this just to try and steal my kidney at a hospital? Did he really think this was a novel where laws didn't apply? Anna also frowned at him. Julian, even if Noah's kidney was a match, which is unlikely, forcibly taking someone's organ without their consent is a serious crime. Where did you even get an idea like that? The triumphant look on Julian's face vanished. He stood there, mouth agape, as if he couldn't believe Anna wasn't following the script. Just then, the doctor seemed to snap out of it. He cleared his throat, looking relieved, and handed the card back to Anna. Ms. Sterling, here's what happened. Mr. Vance just tried to bribe me with this card. He wanted me to lie and say he was in kidney failure and then demand this gentleman's kidney. If I hadn't heard what you just said, I was about to call the police. I'm glad to see you're a law-abiding citizen. That puts my mind at ease. You should talk to Mr. Vance and make sure he doesn't have these dangerous ideas again. And please, don't treat the hospital like a stage. Smearing some fake blood on himself and coming here wastes valuable medical resources. With that, the doctor went back into his office. As the door closed, I heard him mutter, People these days read too many crazy stories and rot their brains. Tries to bribe me with a credit card without even giving me the PIN. Thinks this is a movie. I wanted to laugh out loud, but seeing Anna's grim expression, I knew it wasn't the right time and held it in. Julian, seeing the disappointment in Anna's eyes, tried to argue frantically. Anna, look at all this blood. How can it be fake? His voice was weak and tearful. Don't listen to that doctor. He must be related to Noah or something, helping him so I can't get a new kidney and die from renal failure. Are you really going to let me die because of a misunderstanding? Anna's temples throbbed. Just as she was about to speak, her phone buzzed. It was a video file from Maria. I took the phone and played it for her. The screen clearly showed the entire sequence. Julian snatching the knife, stabbing the blood pack, and collapsing to the ground, feigning injury. Anna held the phone in front of Julian and asked coldly, "Now, what do you have to say for yourself?" Julian's face was pale, but his eyes quickly welled up with tears. "Anna, I know I was wrong, but I just didn't want you to keep looking at a replacement. I'm supposed to be the one for you." Anna's gaze was sharp. "I've told you many times, Noah is the chef I hired. He is not your replacement." Julian had never been spoken to like this by her before. He froze, his act forgotten, a look of pure disbelief on his face. Anna turned to me, her voice heavy. "Noah, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the situation today and wrongly accused you." I sighed. This wasn't the first time I'd been dragged into Julian's drama. From a replacement misunderstanding to the disastrous party. And now, this frame-up, it was too much. I was here to cook for $1 million salary, not to star in a soap opera. "I accept your apology, Miss Sterling, but I've decided to resign." Anna was stunned. She tried to persuade me. "I can give you another raise, and I will handle Julian. I promise he won't bother you again." I shook my head. "It's not about the money. I'm just a chef. I want to cook in peace, not be treated like a character in someone else's drama every day." No matter how much Anna pleaded, my decision was firm. She finally sighed in defeat. "All right, I respect your decision. Your final salary and compensation will be wired to you as soon as possible." After returning to the Sterling residence from the hospital, I quickly packed my things. Maria helped me, sighing, "What am I going to do here without you?" She had been a housekeeper for the Sterling family since Anna's parents' time and considered it her home. She couldn't bear to leave. I patted her shoulder. "Maria, it's too early to despair. Just imagine what it will be like when Ms. Sterling and Mr. Vance get married. That's when your real troubles will begin." At the thought, Maria looked as if she was about to faint. As I left with my luggage, I glanced back and saw Anna standing on the second-floor balcony, watching me with a complex expression. I gave a small wave and got into the taxi. Finally free from Julian's theatrics, no longer having to sneak around to cook, felt incredibly liberating. I moved back into my old apartment and gave myself a vacation. I slept in every day and spent my afternoons developing new recipes. Life was perfect. I thought my chapter with the Sterlings was closed, but 3 days later, my phone blew up. A friend sent me a link to a trending topic on Twitter. The headline read, "Scheming replacement kicked out of mansion, runs off with valuables." I clicked on it. The video was of me packing my bags a few days earlier. Julian had secretly filmed it, making sure to zoom in on the designer bags and watches in my suitcase. He had written a caption, "I was only out of the country for a few months, and some shameless man started dressing like me to seduce Anna, using her money to buy luxury goods. Now that I've exposed him, he's run off. Shouldn't I, the rightful partner, demand those things back?" The comments section exploded. "OMG, this is like one of those fanfics coming to life. Using someone else's money to buy designer stuff is so shameless. I feel so bad for the first love guy, having his place stolen by a substitute for so long. Give the stuff back. People who get things without earning them are disgusting." As I was reading the comments, I received a text from an unknown number. "Noah, you've seen the Twitter thread, right? If you know what's good for you, return the luxury items Anna bought you immediately. Otherwise, I don't mind making you even more famous." I looked at the text from Julian and almost laughed out loud. I had bought all of those things with my own salary. With $1 million salary, couldn't I afford a few luxury items? I was about to reply when my phone rang again. This time, it wasn't Julian, it was Anna. Noah, I saw what's online. I'm so sorry. It's because of Julian again. Her voice was apologetic. I'll have my PR team issue a clarification for you and sue the people spreading rumors. I declined her offer. No, thank you. If you get involved, it will just confirm that I was your replacement. It will make things even messier. I have my own way of clearing this up. You don't need to worry about it, Miss Sterling. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and posted a screenshot of my employment contract with Anna Sterling. It clearly stated my annual salary of $1 million and my position as a private chef. Then, I posted the receipts for all the luxury goods, each marked with the date and amount of purchase, all paid for with my own bank card after I started the job. I added a short text. My name is Noah Carter. I was employed by Ms. Anna Sterling as a private chef for an annual salary of $1 million. I am not a so-called replacement. The luxury items in the video were all purchased with my own legal income. There was no running off with valuables. The truth speaks for itself. To those spreading rumors, please conduct yourselves with dignity. Once my post went up, the comment section went quiet for a few seconds, then erupted. Whoa, a chef with $1 million salary. What kind of god-tier cooking is this? My mistake, sir. I apologize. $1 million makes buying those luxury items like buying groceries. So, it wasn't a replacement story. I was just thinking too small. So that Julian guy was lying? That's a weird move. To my surprise, several of the tech elites and heirs who had been at the welcome home party retweeted my post. The tech heir added, Noah's cooking is Michelin star level. My mom nags me every day to try and poach him. $1 million salary is a bargain. The CEO of a major corporation commented, I had Mr. Carter's A5 Wagyu with truffles once, and I still dream about it. Noah, if you ever consider opening a private kitchen, I'll be the first to put down a deposit. Another prominent CEO was even more direct. Anyone who slanders Mr. Carter has a problem with me. If he's a replacement, then what does that make all of us who are trying to hire him? With these influential figures speaking up, the public opinion completely reversed. People went from gossiping to clamoring like hungry foodies. The titans of industry have spoken. How good must this guy's food be? Please open a restaurant, Noah. I would wait in line for 3 days and 3 nights. I feel bad for Noah, being treated like a replacement and then getting slandered. I couldn't help but smile at the comments. Not only had I avoided a crisis, but I had also gotten a massive wave of free advertising. I was about to reply to a user, saying I was considering opening a private kitchen, when I received another anonymous message. It contained several photos and an audio recording. The photos were of Julian at a clinic abroad, accompanying someone for a prenatal checkup, along with a signed consent form for an abortion procedure. The recording was a conversation between him and a friend. Why would I go abroad just for fun? I got someone pregnant after a drunken night and had to take them overseas to deal with it quietly. That fool Anna actually thought I just wanted a vacation and even flew out to see me every week. What can I say? That's the charm of being the one that got away. I raised an eyebrow. This was the perfect counterattack, delivered right to my doorstep. Since Julian wouldn't leave me alone, I didn't need to be polite. I censored the sensitive information, then anonymously posted the evidence online with the caption, Some people call themselves the one that got away. What were they really doing during their 3 months abroad? The evidence went viral, and the internet exploded. Julian's lies were exposed. The users who had sympathized with him turned on him, calling him manipulative and a pathological liar. Anna was on a business trip overseas. During a break, she asked her assistant, How is Noah's reputation online now? Is anyone still attacking him? If so, have the legal department handle it. The assistant shook his head, hesitating. No one is attacking Mr. Carter anymore. But he showed Anna the news on his phone. As Anna read, her frown deepened. She finished her work and flew home that night. She threw the phone in front of Julian, her face ice cold. Julian, what is all this? Seeing the photos and hearing the recording, Julian's face went white, but he still tried to lie. It's Noah. He framed me. All of this is fake. Anna's voice was filled with disappointment. The medical forms have your signature. The recording is your voice. And you're still trying to deny it? I was truly wrong about you all these years. Maria, pack his things and escort him out. He is never to set foot in this house again. Julian was stunned for a moment. Then he started to laugh. I get it. This is the part of the story where the main characters are driven apart by the substitute schemes and the misunderstandings deepen. Anna, you'll regret kicking me out. When you realize you love me and come begging me to take you back, I won't forgive you so easily. He was convinced Anna was about to enact a dramatic win-him-back plot. As he packed, he put on an air of, I'm waiting for you to beg for my return, and left without a backward glance. Anna watched him go and sighed wearily. Looking around the empty house, she suddenly missed the warmth and life it used to have. After a long hesitation, she picked up her phone and called me. Noah, about the situation with Julian, I need to apologize to you again. I replied calmly. Ms. Sterling, you've already apologized. I assume that's not the only reason you called today. You see right through me. She hesitated for a moment before continuing. I saw the comments online recently. I wanted to ask if you're considering opening a private kitchen. I could invest. You wouldn't have to put in a dime, and you'd keep all the profits. I was taken aback for a second, then I laughed. Ms. Sterling, is this your way of hiring me back to cook for you? Her voice sounded a bit flustered. No, I just think your culinary talent should be shared with more people. And I really can't get used to anyone else's cooking. I thought about it. Opening a private kitchen was already part of my plan. Having a willing investor who wouldn't interfere was a dream come true. I agreed. Okay, but I have one condition. You can't interfere with my management of the restaurant as an investor. And when you want to eat, you have to make a reservation and wait in line like everyone else. No special treatment. Anna agreed immediately. No problem. With Anna's help, my private kitchen opened and became a massive success. Anna kept her promise, never meddling in the business and always patiently waiting for her reservation. She came for all 3 meals every day, and it felt like the old days when I was cooking for her at her home, but this time without Julian's interruptions. I once asked her why Julian had never bothered her again. Her expression was like she had swallowed a fly. After a long pause, she told me. Before he left, he said the plot had progressed to the part where the main characters have a deep misunderstanding because of the substitute. He seemed certain I would have a change of heart and go chasing after him. I couldn't help but feel a mix of pity and disbelief. Julian was truly committed to his dramatic first love persona until the very end. After that, neither of us mentioned him again. Every day, when Anna came to eat, she would bring me a small gift. Sometimes it was a wildflower from the side of the road. Other times, a piece of jewelry from a new designer. One time, while accepting a gift, I teased her, you know, it used to cost you $1 million a year for me to cook for you. Now you come here, pay for your meals, and bring me gifts. This is probably costing you more than $1 million. She smiled warmly. As long as you like it, that's all that matters. Looking into her gentle eyes, my heart suddenly started to beat faster. After 6 months of spending our days together, she came to dinner one evening with a large bouquet of roses. I hesitated to accept them and asked, do you know what giving someone roses means? Anna nodded. It means that from now on, all my money is yours to manage. So are you willing? Who would say no to managing money? I smiled and nodded. Our relationship heated up quickly, and soon we decided to get married. The wedding was set for a sunny weekend. The guests were our friends, family, and loyal customers from the restaurant. As I was in the dressing room preparing my vows, Maria stood by, wiping away tears of joy. You have no idea how thrilled I was when I heard Miss Sterling was marrying you. This is wonderful. Thank goodness she didn't marry Mr. Vance. My future is no longer a dark abyss. She clearly remembered what I had said the day I resigned, and her face was full of relief. I, on the other hand, paused, realizing I hadn't thought about Julian in a very long time. But as they say, speak of the devil. I was standing with Anna, about to exchange rings, when the doors to the hall were thrown open. Julian burst in, his hair a mess, a crazed look in his eyes. He was holding a glass bottle and screaming as he lunged toward me, raising the bottle to splash its contents. Noah, you shameless replacement. Not only did you drive a wedge between me and Anna, but now you've interrupted the chase and back part of the story and are marrying her instead. Go to hell. The bottle was filled with acid. Thankfully, Anna had anticipated trouble and hired extra security. They immediately rushed forward and tackled him. Pinned to the ground, Julian was still screaming frantically. Why? I'm the main character, the first love. The story was supposed to be about me and Anna overcoming misunderstandings and living happily ever after. Why did it turn out like this?